Waikaskalhalti peace naksilu. It's a good day today, my relatives from back east. I'm Chief Clarence Louie from the Osoyoos Indian Band in South Central BC. I've been Chief of the Osoyoos Indian Band for now going into my 31st year. And I've had the opportunity to travel throughout Indian country from East Coast to West Coast, North to South. And everywhere I go, I want to know how First Nations are doing economic-wise. Because unless you have economic development, unless your community is making its own money, you'll never be independent. You will always be dependent on the Department of Indian Affairs. And when I first became chief back in 1984, I didn't want the Osoyoos Indian Band to be dependent on the crumbs from the Department of Indian Affairs. No First Nations should be fully dependent on the Department of Indian Affairs. Here at Osoyoos, we have more band-owned businesses, commercial activity than most First Nations in this country. Our 520 members have the opportunity for many, many jobs in a lot of different sectors. We have many, many land leases in residential, commercial, industrial projects on our reserve, mainly due to the fact that we have highway access. There's three provincial highways that go through our res. And it's those highways that are the lifeblood of my First Nation. Because off of those highways, we have a golf course, we have our wineries, we have our campground recreational vehicle parks, we have 2 gas stations and stores, we have an industrial park, and we have a construction company, a cement company. And all of our businesses depend on highway access, and it creates hundreds and hundreds of jobs for band members and non-band members and band member spouses. And it brings in millions of dollars of income to the Osoyoos Indian Band, which we use for all our programs and services. Because the Department of Indian Affairs has never properly funded one program or service on the Osoyoos Indian Reserve. And therefore, we have to subsidize, we have to put our own source revenue towards all the elders programs, youth programs, education, cultural programs. Every one of our cultural programs costs money. Every one of our programs from cradle to grave costs money. Even at time of funerals, we have to pay for our own funerals. And it all comes out of our own source revenue from those projects that are on highway frontage properties. So I hear that your First Nation is going to have a vote coming up in July. That vote could be a game changer for your First Nation. You have to realize that any time in business you have highway frontage, that's a home run. That is so critical and so important. Because in business there's a rule that will never change, and it's location, location, location. First Nation businesses need highway property. They need highway frontage. They need highway access in order so that customers can come to your businesses that you run. And in order to attract businesses to your First Nation, you need highway properties. Without highway properties, your First Nation will never be independent from the crumbs from the Department of Indian Affairs. I've been on over 300 Indian reserves in the US and Canada. And I just came from one reserve where that First Nation does not have any highway frontage. And because it has no highway commercial properties, that community is suffering. It has no job opportunities for its members. It has no education funds for its members, has no health funds for its members. People have to remember on the reserves that money is what pays for everything. And in order to attract businesses and to create more funds for your First Nation, you need highway properties. Highways are very, very expensive to build and very, very expensive to look after. That's why my recommendation, if you have a chance to get provincial highway access, you should do it. I mean, it's a no-brainer when it comes to business. And business isn't just about making money. Business is about opportunities for your youth, opportunities for your band members. If you believe the youth are the future leaders of your res, you want an educated workforce. You want your youth to go to school, go on to college, go on to university, get a trade, whatever it may be. And somebody's going to have to pay for that education, or else you're going to have a wait list. I don't want Osoyoos Indian Band to be dependent on the Department of Indian Affairs for all of our education spending. Therefore, on our highways properties, we have many leases, which brings us in millions of dollars. And because every First Nation now has a chance to get into taxation, we tax those non-native leases. And again, we bring in millions of dollars in taxation revenue. It has nothing to do with taxing native people. That's a misconception. That's a rumor. When bands get into taxation, they don't tax their own people. We don't tax our own people. But anytime you lease land to non-native people, your band will have opportunity, because the province is going to come in and collect those taxes if the First Nation doesn't. And I want to thank Rose Paul for calling me on this and asking me to say a few words to her First Nation. Rose has been working many, many years on this project, and as I have on many projects on the Osoyoos Indian Reserve. And I love it when I hear that a band has a chance for economic growth. I love it when I hear a First Nation has a chance to get highways properties and have a chance to get out from under the control and the dependency of the Department of Indian Affairs. So Rose Paul, in economic development, that's where I spend the majority of my time. And that's why the Osoyoos Indian Band, First Nations from all over Canada come to visit us, because we have economic development, because we have leases, because we have business opportunities. We employ over 35 different First Nations on our res. They come all over from Western Canada, back east, north, south. And in my travels across Canada, those First Nations that have economic opportunity and that are breaking away from the welfare cycle are those that have highway properties. Bands on the prairies through treaty land entitlement are buying highway properties, whether it's on Trans-Canada or secondary roads. Bands all across this country are taking advantage of finally being able to have highway properties. As I mentioned, in business, location is a #1 issue. And you have to have a well-paved, maintained highway in order for your band to become successful. You can't, having, as I mentioned, that one First Nation I just came from, 3 hours on a dirt road. They don't have one paved road on their reserve. So I really hope, and I wish your res economic success. And in this upcoming vote, as I mentioned, this upcoming vote is going to be a game changer for your First Nation. Because in order to break the cycle of dependency, you need provincial highway access. Non-native customers are going to need proper roads to travel to. And anyone that wants to start a business on your res, whether it's native or non-native, first question is, what's the highway access? How far away is the highway access? Highways will either kill a deal for your community, the lack of highway access, or if you have highway access, you're going to have the chance and opportunity to attract businesses to your res. And the more businesses you attract to your res, the more opportunities your people are going to have, and the more chance for your young people, once they get an education, they'll come back because there's job opportunities. Educated people always go to where the jobs are. If your reserve doesn't have job opportunities, your future generations, those future leaders, as you call them, they're going to go work for another First Nation. They're going to move away. They're going to go where the job opportunities are. That's what every educated person does. Educated people do not want to be on welfare. Educated people do not want to stand in a welfare line. Educated people want good, high-paying jobs and job opportunities that they have a chance to advance in. Career opportunities. And the biggest employer on every reserve should not be the band office. The biggest employer on a reserve should not be the health department or the social service department. That's not where you make money. That's not where you create economic opportunities for your people. I love hanging around business people. And thank you, Rose Paul, for all your work in lands and economic development. That's where I spend my time. And I really hope your First Nation seriously considers voting in favor of this game changer for your First Nation. And what you'll see once you have those highway opportunities, it's not just about jobs and economic development. It's a holistic, where those highway opportunities and those highway jobs are going to provide for every social service that your community is currently spending money on. It's going to improve the socioeconomic statistics of your First Nation. So best of luck, and I want to commend the Chief and Council for bringing this forward. And I know it's a lot of hard work, and of course, it's a decision. It's decision time, as it should be. Because your community is going to have a chance, if you guys vote in favor of this, you're going to look back and see this was a game changer for your First Nation. When you look back 10 or 20 years from now and see the businesses on your reserve, see how your per capita income has improved, see all your social services you've been able to, those things you haven't been able to afford to do, you might be able to afford to do them now, because you'll have your own source revenue that is not tied to the purse strings or the control of some Indian Affairs bureaucrat in Nova Scotia or in Ottawa. So I want to commend Rose Paul for all the work you've done on this file for the many, many years, and all the chiefs and councils that have worked on it. And I really hope, and I wish economic success to your community and to your First Nation. Sometime you should come out to Osoyoos and see what we've done with our highway accesses and the economic and social opportunities that having accesses to provincial highways has brought to the Osoyoos Indian Band. I hope some of you come out here and see with your own eyes how important highway access is and will be to your First Nation. Limlim to my language, which means thank you. And good luck in your upcoming vote.